and welcome back to the STPL. My name is Kix, and you are joining me here today for the decider match of round number 3. So, obviously there's a lot to talk about when it comes to the playoffs. We have 3 qualified teams already. They are guaranteed, regardless of the results of the last match that still needs to be casted, which will be IRK versus VWL. This is Media versus White. Just have a quick look at the the group stage. As you can see, Naz have comfortably qualified from Group A. Closely following them is FBW, so FBW still have a chance here, depending on how the results of this game go. But the real decider of this group will be White Clan versus Media. This is the final game from Group A to be casted. MSJ versus Ash was actually a walkover fully for Ash, but it doesn't really matter too much as it is at the bottom of the group. But if White Clan can win here with... Actually, I think FBW are in trouble regardless, because if Media win 3-2, then they're going to qualify. If White Clan win at all, they're going to go above FBW. So FBW, unfortunately, their last second spurt came in at the end of the season, so that does kind of make things a little bit harder. I can't work out the maths on this, but I think there's still a way they can qualify. They are obviously +7, so if White Clan lose horrifically, obviously they will be out of the tournament and not make it to the third set of playoffs. But if Media win with a good set of scores, then they'll be in a pretty good position. Now, just to go back here again, there is a little bit of an unfortunate mishap on this series. Media, much like MSJ did at the end of the season, had a few problems with getting their players to turn up because they didn't have many. Gypsy, unfortunately, was one of the main names that kind of joined them at the beginning of round 3 and didn't quite manage to make it to the end of the season. He did kind of take a big break from Rude War for whatever reason. I don't really know what happened there, but I know he's not been around as much, so he wasn't there to sort of fill in the roster. So they threw in Machine, who obviously very busy. I don't think he necessarily wanted to be put on there, but he unfortunately couldn't make his game, so that was one walkover for them. And I was meant to actually see the other walkover first, so Jaeyoon unfortunately didn't get his game played either. So basically, Media start with a 2-0 deficit, which isn't great. I'm going to start it with a 1-0 on the case of the overlay, and we're going to make this a best of 3. But obviously, if White can win one of these games, they will be qualifying. Well, I don't know if they're going to be qualifying, but they're definitely going to take the win over Media, and then we'll have to work it out via the database to figure out who exactly goes through. But it should be cool nonetheless, even though there was that walkover. The games we have are going to be absolutely sick, so let's actually quickly have a look at the maps we're going to be seeing today. Set 1, unfortunately we're not going to be seeing, that would have been on Icarus. Set 2 is going to be Athena, that's going to be our first game. Set 3 on Katrina SE, and set 4, which unfortunately we also won't get to see, is going to be on, or would be on Shin Pizza Bake Do. Then if we do make it to the ace match, it's going to go to Neo Ground Zero. I don't know if there was an ace match as of yet, but we're going to discover that together. Just have a look at our 2 teams and how they got here. Media have done fairly well this season, so they did join in round 2. They didn't make too big of a splash. They were having a few activity problems back then, but then they added Gypsy and Jaeyoon to the roster, which really did help. But unfortunately, it looks like they're having the same problems MSJ did. But Media lost to Ash, which is quite an upset, actually, I would say. Ash, obviously, really a good team when they get the right players, but they've had a few problems with activity. They beat Naz 3-1, which is absolutely sick. I'm fairly certain this is right. They lost to Bull Team as well, 3-2. They beat... You know, I am questioning my overlay here because I cannot remember these results, but then again it was quite a way away. Let's have a quick look here. We'll see that White Clan, they did lose to FBW, they lost 3-1. They did lose to Naz, so I know this is definitely correct. They beat MSJ 4-0, beat Valhalla Team 3-1, and beat Bull Team 3-2 as well. And now I had no idea that Media lost to Bull. Oh, of course they did. Bull did a lot better this round. I'm thinking of round 2. Round 2, Bull didn't have the best of times, but they came back. But just have a look. White Clan have been absolutely killing it. They won round 1. They won round 2 as well, giving them the most qualification points so far out of any of our teams. They have won 19 sets overall. Media in retrospect have only won 5. They've been in for 2 rounds, but it shows how weak, unfortunately, they did in round 2. Round 3, they've definitely done a lot better. They're actually 4 for 2 at the moment, so 4 of those wins are from this round. Obviously, the head-to-head they did play in round 2, and White Clan did beat Media, so it's good to see a rematch here to see if Media can gain some of their composure back. You can see that both of the teams are on 4 for 2 to round out the round. Looking at the sort of player statistics, you can see that White Clan have been relying a hell of a lot on their Terrans, like Pharmacy, Bai. They're 2 of the main ones with Sin, but we're going to see another one today who hasn't actually made his debut yet in the STPL. That's going to be Terran. The other one that would have played is Shinhan, but he's Protoss. We're going to be starting here with Nyoken versus Jeju. Jeju is actually, I believe, an ex-pro gamer. I can't remember exactly his statistics or anything from back in the day. I know I had a list of where they were from, but he did recently appear in the... I believe he appeared in the ASL qualifiers. He didn't make it through, but he did actually used to play for... it was Samsung Khan. I think... I know he played... okay, so he played for SCX Seoul, and then he moved to Samsung Khan as well. He actually retired in 2008, so a super old school player here, much like 815, another White Clan member that did actually pretty well in the ASL qualifiers this time. So these old guys coming back, doing a little bit better again. And we're going to have Future versus Terran. Terran with the least original name of any pro gamer I have ever seen. But you know what? It's all well and good. Let's just have a quick look at how our players, our first 2, have been doing so far. Nyoken, 8 wins, 4 losses overall across round 2 and round 3, so he's been doing pretty well. He's actually 4-2 up against Protoss. Looks like one of his losses, for whatever reason, isn't actually appearing, but it's all good. He did beat Dentag, Ampute, Dreamer, and Ampute again. He beat Ampute in both rounds, so round 2 and 3, so kind of cool for him. The only Protoss that we can see actually lost at against here is actually Sugo, so Sugo played really well against Nyoken when they played. Now looking at Jeju, he's actually only played 1 game in the STPL so far. That's across all 3 rounds. He did actually face off against Lumire and did win back then. That was a pretty cool matchup. It was really cool to see that game. But I know Lumire then later on went to go and beat another White Protoss. I believe it was first he beat with a Sunken Rush. Unless that was, that might have been Hyunwoo on Coliseum. I think that was Hyunwoo. But either way, both these players have done pretty well so far for themselves. Looking forward to seeing exactly how both of them are going to do here in this game. It's going to be on this map right here. It's Athena 2. Now we've actually seen a good number of PvTs here so far. Terran have not had the best of luck. Jax actually took down Dreamer. TT1 took down Pharmacy. That was a really fun match. TT1 actually going double shuttle and just absolutely dropping the hell out of Pharmacy there. DeWalt took down Vulture. Not the most surprising result. DeWalt obviously one of the strongest Protoss players. We saw TT1 versus Gypsy. Gypsy tried to go for a proxy 2 racks, so BBS. Didn't work out for him. TT1 held that, so TT1 showing a really good win rate on this map. And Noob took down Kimquex for the BWL. Some of the results aren't as surprising as what you may believe, but just have a quick look again at the map. You'll see that the map is 3 players. 2 o'clock 10 o'clock and 6 o'clock spawns. Very easy to take natural, especially in PvT and TvP. Third base, very close by, defended by a small area. There is like a stacked Katrina crystal to give you sort of access to try and siege down the minerals from behind, but it also, you can't get through it any other way from what I remember. But the third base is a small gas, but there is a fourth base as well just behind it that you can secure with taking the ramp. So really, really easy to defend expansions on this map. Mineral only possible third base in the middle, but they're a little bit harder to control due to the fact you have to secure more of an area. A little bit easier for Protoss to take those, but wouldn't surprise me to see Nyoken go for those. He does like mineral only bases, especially when you see him play Circuit Breaker. So without further ado, let's get into game number 2 here. If you missed the start, Meteor, unfortunately, Jaeyun did not show up for his game, so we did have a walkover win for White Clan. So we're going to start with game number 2 here. It's Nyoken versus Jeju on Athena 2. Okay, now apparently that's broken again, and now it's going to show that. So, what the heck is going on there? I have no idea, but starting us off here in the top right-hand position, we do have the Red Protoss fighting for White Clan. It's Jeju. And his opponent spawning down here in the bottom middle position, we do have the White Terran fighting for Media, fighting for their chance to stay alive in round 2 and make it to the round 3 playoffs. It's Nyoken. Now obviously this game is going to be very important for both teams. Both teams have had a long history with the STPL now. White Clan especially, they did win. Obviously they won round 1, they won round 2, and they could very possibly win round 3. If they can win this game with a good enough win ratio, they will overtake FBW and make it into the playoffs. Same with same with Meteor even. So things looking very precarious at the top of Group A right now. And I'm looking forward to seeing how exactly this series is going to play out now. Looks like Nyoken is likely going to play incredibly standard. Interestingly, he's not building his barracks next to the command center, so he is going to have to build I believe he's going to have to build a depot there. I can't remember if it's actually tight at the top, but if it isn't, then that could be a little bit of a problem. Now, Jeju being a little bit sneaky here, sending sending an early probe actually up to scout the 4th base area. Not sure if he was worried about some kind of proxy barracks or something like that, but certainly something to watch out for when you're playing against someone you maybe don't know too much about. Nyoken, obviously a pretty big name in the foreign community, but doesn't really have too much of a following in the Korean scene from what I understand. He hasn't really been to Korea, doesn't stream on Africa TV or anything, so Jeju will have definitely played this map. By the way, this map was in rotation when he was still in Samsung Khan in 2008, so I believe Athena 1 was out at that point though. Athena 2 I believe came out in 2009. But still, really, really cool map. Fun to see it here in the STPL. This map has definitely led to some amazing games. If you missed it the other day, we saw a fantastic TBT between Medinho and it was Medinho and Scan? I think it was Scan, Medinho and Scan. And basically Medinho dropped, I'm trying to remember exactly if it was Scan or if it was one of the other Biol. It was Medinho versus Biol, and Medinho absolutely wrecked Biol with multiple drops. We obviously saw the PvT between TT1 and Pharmacy on this map as well, so really, really cool games we've had on here. Certainly one of the more diverse maps we've had in round 3, and not had a kind of repeat of Troy back in round 2 where we had a lot of PvP all the time. But Katrina SE as well has led to some really, really fun games. Looking forward to seeing the game on that after this. Nyoken is actually going to be building his CC on the high ground. Going to likely be going into siege mode. and a siege tank at the same time. I mean, he is adding on some marines, so he could go for mine expand, but mine expand a little bit more dangerous when you don't really know what's going on. Now, Nyoken hasn't gone back in check Jeju's base yet, but there is a Nexus coming up. Nyoken should be able to spot that unless Jeju can block this SCV. This is going to be a pretty big moment in this game, but Nyoken should be able to get this SCV in. Looks like Jeju is doing his best. Now, Nyoken does see the Nexus. Will lose his SCV without seeing too much, but he sees only one gateway, and obviously the timing of the Nexus is very, very important to him to scout. Now, it is going to be Siege Mode coming in behind the Siege Tank, so Siege Expand coming in for Nyoken. And Faust, I like how you're having trouble typing my typing the emote. That's kind of funny. But we're going to get into a little bit of a lull here now. If you are just tuning in, this is going to be the deciding match of round 3. The winner of this series, we're going to have to do the calculations, but is likely to go through to the playoffs. Playoffs with Naz, Soul Gaming, and Net Wars. Soul Gaming and Net Wars, regardless of the outcome of IRK versus BWL, will be heading into the playoffs. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. The math checks out on that and everything. So, luckily enough, I did all the math pre-stream, so I don't have to do any on-stream, which I've learned many a time is not the best decision. Now, we could have a relatively short night of STPL today, but I'm going to play some ladder afterwards, I think. Depending on when we finish, we could obviously still have 2-hour-long games, but if we have enough time, I'll stream a little bit of ladder afterwards, because it's fun. We've got an armory coming up for Nyoken's second factory as well, so playing super standard as expected from him. Jeju back at home is going into an observatory with 3 gateways, going into his Robotech and everything. The things are looking very standard over there as well. Now, Jeju has a couple of options from here. He could go for a very quick third base, which looks like it's going to be his decision. Nyoken getting that first scan down, checking for any additional checking the gateway count as well, and seeing nothing too nothing too troublesome or anything like that. So yeah, so as you can see, the 4th base actually is the one with the smaller gas. It is a lot easier to defend because you do just have to pile on more this ramp even. So looks like he is going to do that. Now Nyoken is very cleverly actually sending out a scout here to these other 2 bases. He has a feeling that a possible 3rd base could be on the way. Now, is he going to see this? He checks the 3rd base. There's no gas here. He's actually going to hide behind the minerals, waiting for a possible 3rd base to come up, but little does he know, just at the top of the ramp there is a Nexus. Now, I wonder if the fact that Jeju sent units up there, yeah, so he does scan the 4th base, which is the 3rd base in this game, and does know what's going on, sending out another SCV just to confirm what's going on. Nyoken very on top of scouting this game, using his scans very efficiently, very diligently, and also keeping up with his SCV production, which is one of the most important things in Brood War. Now it looks like Jeju going to move forward a little bit with his Dragoons. I don't think he'll be able to bust at this point. Nyoken with tanks in a very, very good position. And behind this he is going into Templar Tech and Stargate, so it's going to be Arbiters here from Jeju. Does not surprise me. This is a very, very good map for Arbiters. Here we go. Looks like Jeju is actually going to try and push in and snipe the Goliaths. A little bit of a misstep there by Nyoken. I think he was out here trying to catch this Observer. But little does he know that Jeju was ready, and he takes out the Goliaths without losing any of his important Dragoons. Now he does take a lot of damage on a couple of them, which is a little bit of a problem. Nyoken throwing down yet another scan. Should see this pylon wall being closed off eventually, but obviously Jeju with a very good position outside of Nyoken's main. Now we are seeing Nyoken go up to a 3rd command center. It looks like he wants to take this mineral only now. He's going to be throwing down a scan again, and he sees the fact the Arbiter Tribunal is coming in. Now we should see him immediately starting that science to sleep. We should see EMP come up fairly shortly after that as well. Looks like Goliath Charon booster should be finished already, as he's not researching that anymore. And more interestingly than anything else, Nyoken has actually opted to entirely skip vultures. Now this is almost like the polar opposite of how I enjoy playing PvP. But the interesting thing is, this could work very well. Jeju is stuck to nothing but Dragoons, so the Vulture's not really too important at the moment. Looks like we are going to have a little bit of a push in here by Nyoken. Can he get a good trade on these Dragoons? Does lose a tank for a single, a tank for a couple of Dragoons. That's a relatively good trade. Now Jeju has actually got pretty good coverage with scouting. You can see the factory count. Sees that it is only going to be 5. This command center is actually flying out to the middle of the map here, a little bit precarious, but Nyoken doing what he can to secure this area with his tanks. Now, if you've never seen this map before and you've never seen Sylphid as well, which is one of the ASL 6 and now Neo Sylphid and ASL 7, on this tile set, this green is not actually high ground. So even though this looks like high ground, it's more like a little rock wall. So you do kind of have ramps, but they don't count. There's no high ground protection thing up there, so Nyoken's still scanning around, being very, very diligent to make sure that the Protoss doesn't get too many bases. And looks like he is going to finally be trying to take this base now. I think this is actually blocking his scanner. That could be a little bit unfortunate because you need as many scans as possible. That's definitely blocking his scanner, I'm certain. Okay, that's a little bit of a misstep by Nyoken. He hasn't quite realized, but here we go. Looks like Jeju going to try and move forward. Nyoken in a very strong position in the middle of the map. Despite the fact there isn't high ground here, it makes it very difficult for a Protoss to engage in these chokes. Probes are now being transferred over to this 4th base. This is going to be a full gas, so Jeju looking pretty strong. First Arbiter is out. Is it going to be Stasis or Recall first? It's actually going to be Recall first. Now, obviously, Stasis could have been researched already without me checking, but yeah, this is blocked. I think what's happened is Nyoken has put it 1 hex too high, so that's blocked the thing. I think without it being the hex higher, it would be fine, but that's a little bit unfortunate. Looks like Jeju just playing a little bit greedy here, possibly going to take another base. Just trying to see exactly what's going on. We actually have a SCV with a turret over here. This isn't actually that bad of an idea. We do have the tanks out of siege mode though. There is an observer watching this, so Nyoken is going to have to be careful. I mean, finally he does have that vulture production started. And it looks like speed has been finished, but he does need to be very, very careful, as eventually these arbiters are going to build up their energy. We should have the second one coming in very, very soon. Looks like he's delayed that a little bit to get that extra base up. But here we go, the Vulture's trying to move around. They have, from what I can see, used most of their mines. Going to try and snipe this probe in the top left-hand corner. No, he's actually going to send it backwards. And now these Vultures aren't going to be able to do too much damage. And the probe does get the Nexus down. But oh, that's a huge mine, catching 3 Dragoons. And actually damaging a lot of the other shields. So I think Jeju is going to have to be a little bit more careful as he moves around the map now. The lack of mines before really kind of throwing Jeju off a little bit, I think. But Nyoken is just playing super turtly at the moment. He's going to move around the back. Behind this location does give him this choke, even though units can pass through here, and the bridge to secure. And these turrets are actually going to help him immensely against any possible recalls. Now, looks like we do have the Dragoons moving forward. Vultures tried to go around the edge again. One of them actually in the main base killing the pylon, not the Nexus. A little bit of a miss over. Here we go. Looks like we're going to have a big engagement here. The Arbiter is coming in, getting shot at by the Goliath, turning around, trying to think of a better angle of engagement. Now the problem is Nyoken is actually not really defending this base too heavily, so he could find himself losing his third. But Nyoken definitely in a strong position in this game. The command center coming up at the third or fourth base now. It looks like we could have a recall. Here we go, the Arbiter going in, recall right on top of the tanks. Very little here to defend the tanks on the low ground though, just out of range. A little bit unfortunate positioning there by Nyoken. He's going to lose his third base, most likely a scan. Going down, sending his vultures in as cannon fodder at the moment. The one benefit Nyoken has is that this is low ground, so he doesn't have to worry about the high ground mischance here. And he is going to clean up that recall. Nicely done by Jeju here. A little bit, oh sorry, nicely done by Nyoken even. Oh, that's a good mind drag to finish that off, killing the final 3 vultures there with additional mines, but Jeju's macro is starting to get out of control. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 gateways in the main. No gateways at the subsequent bases, but vultures trying to move around. They'll do some more damage, finding it a little bit harder. Nice mine connection on top of the zealots there. That's going to help out Nyoken as this gets further on, but we should have a 5th base coming up very soon for Nyoken, and things are looking very good. 2-1 upgrades have been completed. 3-2 not on the way. He's actually just going into 3-1 for now. Gonna skip building that to use his gas for better things. So here we go. Looks like we are gonna have another engagement. A huge mine drag going off on a lot of the vultures. Stasis going down on top of the tanks. Where are Nyoken's units? But it looks like there's enough. He's got so many vultures here. They're soaking up a lot of the damage. The tanks reinforcing from the other position, but there's another flanking force coming in into this third base. The SCVs gonna get caught off guard, but the Dragoons at the front going down. The tanks finally finding their way up. He's actually gonna build the scanner now. Jeju actually doing him a favor by killing that depot. And it looks like Nyoken is going to be able to hold on. He does actually have a scan, but another good couple of mines going off on top of the final Dragoon should be enough to secure this. Now, looks like Jeju going to try and move in. The Arbiter barely has any shields, does need to pull back. But the Dragoons moving forward with the Zealots. The tanks out of position. Zealots eating so many of those mines. And the Arbiter coming back in. It does have enough energy, I believe, for a stasis. Gonna try and look at the high ground, but there are 3 tanks here to defend. That's a little bit better for Nyoken. It feels like I'm super zoomed in at the moment, but I'm not. It's really strange with 2 tanks on the high ground, a couple of missile turrets as well. He's back in a good position to hold on. Looks like 2 tanks getting a little bit ahead of themselves. Do manage to fall back to help defend this ramp. And that Dragoon is not long for this world. Run straight into death. But this is where the problems start coming in for Nyoken. Jeju is starting to finally secure a mine fully from that other main. He's going to secure the other natural, and that is going to severely limit the gas that Nyoken is going to be able to grab hold of a little bit later in the game. Now Nyoken actually sieging very, very close to his own mines. This could be a very dangerous position if Jeju starts to flood. Gets to flood everything. Now, just to answer Jello, this CC isn't low ground, it's just not high ground, so there's no high ground advantage. It counts as like a rock wall rather than a little ledge. So it's a bit weird. It's one of the weird things about this tile set, but I know Nyoken actually getting a lot of his units stuck. He's trying to send vultures over to mine up where he can, but this is going to be a big problem. There's 3 Arbiters here, 2 of them have enough energy for stasis. This one very, very close, so not only do they have energy for stasis, they also have energy for a recall. Now Nyoken doing a really good job defending against possible recalls. Is really difficult for Jeju to actually find a way in. You have to come in from the bottom, but obviously there's no observer down here to spot for this. Hey Blur, and we're going to be heading into a little bit of not a stalemate situation here, but we're going to have a little dance from the Protoss in the middle as he tries to find the best area of engagement. Nyoken is actually unsieged, so this could be the timing. A nice wall here by Nyoken, going to make it a little bit harder for Jeju to push in. And both the supplies are dead even, the banks are non-existent, so Jeju is not going to be able to remax as quickly as he would like if he loses this engagement. So he is going to be stalling this out as much as possible, getting as much energy on his Arbiters as well. But what is going to be the story with the vessels? He does have 2 vessels here. They do need to unclump a little bit, only has enough energy for an EMP on one of them. Nyoken having maxed out 3-1 upgrades, not going into 3-2 still, is going to try and force an engagement, try and secure a couple of extra bases in this bottom left. but the tank count of Nyoken just isn't as big as what you'd expect in this stage of the game. He's going to be trying to go in. A nice flank here from multiple angles. The Vultures a little bit out in the front. Two huge stasis at the front. Going to be doing, oh my god, so many stasis right now on top of all of Nyoken's army. And this is going to be a dangerous, horrible position for Nyoken to be in. Jeju's army is massive. He's pushing forward. He's not done with the stasis. He's not going to wait to kill those units. He knows he has time, and he's going to try and use this time to kill Nyoken, deal the final blow. Looks like we've got a couple of units coming up here to the high ground. The tanks on the middle ground here do manage to hold on, but things are looking very, very good for Jeju. The stasis too good. GG! Nyoken taps out, and Jeju takes white to a very quick 0 lead. Okay, so that was game number 1, but technically game number 2 because Jaeyoon gave a walkover. But obviously we're here once again. We're going to be going into game number 3 when we get back after this short break.
Easily amused, huh?
Thanks, Gustavo.
Starting of 2019 with a bit of support.
Cheers, man. Means a lot. See you guys very soon.